Ladies and gentlemen, we have a 3-time Oscar nominee in our midst.
Wow, that must be exciting. Who's that?
I'll let you know later.
Okay.
It's very cool to have you here. Ethan, it's great to have you here on the FrontRunners. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Boyhood, as so many people know, is a movie that took over 12 years to make, and yet when it came out at Sundance, it was something that none of us knew about. Was it hard for you to keep it a secret for all the years that you were making it?
You know, it's so funny. It was the easiest secret to keep in the world because nobody understood what the hell we were talking about when we talk about it. I would come home, I would go shoot one of these scenes, you know, these sequences with Rick. I'd fly down to Austin. I'd work with this young boy. It was such an incredible experience. I'd have usually be somewhere between 5 and 7 days or something. And I'd fly back and people would say, where were you? I was like, in Austin doing a movie with Rick. Oh, when's it gonna come out? Oh, in 11 years. You know, and they'd think, well, oh, a documentary? I'm like, no, it's not a documentary. Nobody had any vocabulary for what it was we were working on. So nobody cared, you know? And so it was pretty easy to keep a secret. I think Eller Coltrane, who plays the main kid in it, his friends thought he was making it up. You know, oh yeah, sure, you're doing a movie with Richard Linklater. Yeah, you're the lead. It's gonna be a big movie.
They believe him now.
Yeah.
You are at a point in your career where you've accomplished so many fascinating things, 3 Oscar nominations, maybe another one coming very soon, writing and acting, doing all these great things. But when you think back to when you were starting out, was there an experience that you remember as being really seminal and important to your development as a young actor?
The guy who'd done Gremlins, Joe Dante, Gremlins was this huge hit at the time, and he was doing this new movie about kids who built their own spaceship, and everybody in the world was supposed to audition, and I was very excited because I was gonna be, you know, the next Sean Cassidy in my brain or something like that. After a series of audition stuff, I did get the part, and much to my mother's dismay, because it screwed up our whole life, I mean, because she didn't want to refuse me to do it, but she didn't know how to take care of me. She had a job, and here I was gonna go off to LA to make this movie. It was before rehearsal, and I looked out the window in the parking lot, and there was a 13, 14-year-old River Phoenix practicing his walk. He was so serious.
At 13?
13, out in the thing. And I said, what are you doing? You know, I went out there and I said, what are you doing out here? You look weird. He's like, well, I'm just trying to figure out how Wolfgang would walk. What do you mean how Wolfgang would walk? And he started talking about De Niro and how he saw De Niro on this talk show, and it seemed like, you know, that if you could figure out some external element that wasn't you, that it might have a domino-like effect in which you could become someone else. I'm really thinking, who the hell is this kid, you know? It took me a while before I really hooked on to what River was talking about. But he was talking about being an artist, and I was talking about wanting to be liked. And he was trying to figure out how to contribute, you know? And that thought hadn't occurred to me yet.
Did you ever get a chance years later to say something to him, hey, remember that time in the parking lot? That had an impact on me.
He died at 23. You know, I mean, it's more than 20 years ago.
That's wild.
To me, it's like when I think about, oh, you mean he missed his 30s entirely? I learned everything in my 30s. Who would he be? When I last saw him, which is a few months before he died, we were still too cool to say things like, hey, thanks for teaching me something. I mean, I wanted him to respect me and think I was cool. You know, I wasn't interested in, like, being sincere with him.
Right. Well, I'm glad that he had that impact on you, and that's good that, yeah. Well, I want to take a look at one of my favorite scenes from Boyhood. We're going to watch it together with these remote controls in our hands.
And we each can stop it?
And we can stop
this is fun.
And talk about some of the great moments. This is a scene where...
Oh, we're going to talk, I'll just stop and talk about how great I am?
Sure.
I love, this is the best show I've ever been on.
It's the scene where you're in the car with your 2 kids. You're a divorced dad, so you don't get to see your kids that much. And you're kind of grilling them about their lives. So let's take a look and watch it together.
Talk to me. Samantha, how was your week? I don't know, Dad, it was kind of tough. Billy and Ellen broke up, and Ellen's kind of mad at me because she saw me talking to Billy in the cafeteria. And you remember that sculpture I was working on? Well, it was a unicorn, and the horn broke off, so now it's a zebra, okay? But I still think I'm gonna get an A.
Okay, this is the first place I can stop because I finally
Because I was just talking a mile a minute.
But I love this scene because it almost does have an improv feel to it. Were you doing the same words each take, or did you mix it up a little bit?
What it is it's scripted out of a series of improvisations, you know? And what happens is we would get together, and Rick would have this idea of like, okay, Mason Sr. is taking Samantha and Mason Jr. to a baseball game. First of all, we'd spend a year thinking about, what do you remember most about your dad? Oh, well, there's got to be a baseball game. I mean, my dad, Rick and I's fathers are both actuary. They both work in the insurance business, both from Texas. They have a lot of similarities. So we both had vivid memories of our dads taking us to baseball games and this idea that we were supposed to connect then. So basically, we would get in a rehearsal room and I would talk about that, and Lorelai would say, yeah, but parents only want to connect to you about your life. It's not real.
Right.
And that's how we came up with the idea for the rest of the scene.
I see.
And well, let's keep going here.
Okay.
Mason, how was your week? Well, Dad, it was kind of tough. Joe, he's kind of a jerk. Actually, he stole some cigarettes from his mom. He wanted me to smoke them, but I said no, because I knew what a hard time you had quitting smoking, Dad. How about that? Is that so hard?
So I love this because it's exactly what you said. There's a desperation in him as this part-time dad to connect with his kids, but at the same time, he doesn't want to nag them. He wants them to like him.
It's tough. And the other weird thing at work there that was the real trick of this movie is the scene before this, which had actually been shot 14 months earlier, I'm smoking at a bowling alley with them. It's working towards a couple years after this, we're gonna sell this car. And you're gonna slowly watch the arc of this man change as he gives up his dreams of being a rock star and accepts his role as a father. In quitting smoking, I like it. It was important to me to show that there's a lot of obvious ways in which he's failing as a father. But for you to feel a real attempt at love for these young people,
Yeah.
and trying to get it out effortlessly.
Yeah.
Not in some cornball Budweiser ad way.
Yeah. Let's keep watching.
These questions are kind of hard to answer.
What is so hard to answer? About what sculpture are you making?
It's abstract.
Okay, that's good. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were even interested in abstract art.
I'm not. They make us do it.
But Dad, why is it all on us though? What about you? How was your week? Who do you hang out with? Do you have a girlfriend? What have you been up to?
I see your point.
I love that. And I think that's what this movie really is about. It's about making connections with people in your life and how these connections ebb and flow. And in this little way, between the back seat and the front seat, a little connection was made.
And the beauty of this is this all came out of, a couple days of rehearsal. I'd drive around with these kids and I would say, how come my kids don't talk to me? What do you mean? Do you really share your intimate secrets with them? And you're like, oh, wow, that is true. I never thought. And the beauty of Rick, he wants you to contribute. And so what happens is the movie is not Rick's wisdom or Rick's deep and amazing, brilliant insight. It's a collective, he's curating. The movie has a wisdom that's greater than what an individual can do, And that's what I think makes it so unique,
Yeah. All right, well, here's the end of the scene.
Okay.
So we should just let it happen more naturally, right? That's what you're saying. Okay, that's what we'll do. Starting now.
What I think is interesting about the fact that you and I are talking about this scene, you shot this scene 8, 9 years ago?
I don't know how many years ago. It was a long time ago.
Do you actually remember shooting that scene?
Oh, of course. It's harder for them. I remember it was like yesterday. I don't know, it feels like 18 months ago or something,
Wow.
But to them, the kids, they're like, wait, they get the years blurred,
Well, I love this movie, and I think that's a great scene, so I'm glad we focused on it.
Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you just being here and sharing all of these stories with us. So thank you, Ethan, so much. Great to see you. And if you have not seen Boyhood, do yourself a favor and seek it out, because it's fantastic. And thank you so much for watching Fandango FrontRunners. Well, to say thank you for being here today, we have made you your own personalized Fandango gift card.
This is me driving the minivan. I wish it was me driving the GTO, but I'll take the minivan.
I know, we'll have to do
we
that
take
the
what we
next
can
time.
get.
You have to take your picture with me on that little device over there, so let's go. This is high technology right here. Here we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Thanks,
I
Billy.
think we got it.
Great to see you.